All right, good afternoon to you. I'm Fox 26 meteorologist Remeisha Shade. It is that time of the afternoon, time to track the tropics, time to hopefully turn the page on all of this action we've had for this 2024 Atlantic Basin hurricane season. We still have about a month to go. Hopefully things will not be too busy, but there's always a chance. Of course, we will continue to give you these updates every afternoon throughout the remaining days of our hurricane season. We've still got about a month to go. Typically November, not that active. However, it's not impossible. We could still have one or two of these tropical systems try to mess with us. So far for this season, it's been a pretty busy and above average season as far as the number of hurricanes and major hurricanes, and a near average season for the number of named storms. However, it is going to continue to be fairly active, potentially across parts of the Caribbean. But of course, we've had 15 named storms. Out of those, 10 have become hurricanes, and out of those, about 4 have become major hurricanes. Of course, some of the worst hurricanes this season so far: Beryl, which was briefly a Category 5, Hurricane Helene, which caused a lot of devastation in the southeast, and even up into the mid-Atlantic and Appalachians across the U.S. That was a Category 4 at one point. Kirk, which grew to be a Category 4 hurricane for a brief moment. Also, we had Milton, that became a Category 5 before it made landfall in Florida. So we've had several systems. The next name on the list continues to be Patty. Then we'd have Raphael, Sarah, Tony, Valerie, and William. So we've had a pretty active hurricane season. The good news, at least for the last few days, things have kind of calmed down across the Atlantic Ocean, Caribbean Sea, and Gulf of Mexico. At least no named storms at this time. However, there's still the potential that we could have maybe another tropical storm or hurricane developing over the next week. Where could this be? Well, we're not expecting it in the Atlantic. We're not expecting it in the Gulf. However, the Caribbean still remains a little active. We've been monitoring this area of showers and storms, still fairly disorganized, but the models are still indicating that the environment is still favorable for some potential development. So an area of low pressure could still develop in the southwestern or western Caribbean Sea over the next week. Chance of development over the next couple of days, not looking great, about a 0% chance. But over the next week, yes, there could be a tropical storm or Hurricane Patty that could develop by early next week. So we are monitoring things closely. Would it make its way towards Texas or the Houston area? Well, the answer is probably not. That chance of that happening extremely low. However, there could be some big impacts, including the threat for heavy rain, flooding, mudslides for some of those Caribbean islands, especially Haiti, Dominican Republic, Jamaica, maybe parts of Cuba, and some of that tropical moisture could even slide up into parts of the Florida Peninsula. So we've got to watch this very closely. Here is what we're monitoring. It's basically these disorganized showers and storms, basically off of the east coast of Central America. Not really looking that impressive right now. It's not really getting really organized or getting its act together, but we are really looking more towards the weekend and early next week for more of that organization and development. However, there is a medium 40% chance of these showers and storms getting organized and turning into a broad area of low pressure that could get more well-defined by next week. That could become a tropical depression or tropical storm. The area where that could happen would be anywhere in this orange highlighted region. So that is a big chunk of the Caribbean being watched for this potential development right now at a medium chance. You can see Kingston there in Jamaica within that orange highlighted area. So that could be one of those Caribbean islands impacted. Also up towards Haiti, Dominican Republic, and just south of Cuba, we will be monitoring that tropical development. Right now, it hasn't happened, but it is a possibility. Like I said, the chance of it happening in the next couple of days, extremely low. Tropical storm or hurricane, but by this weekend, as we get through today, tomorrow, Into the weekend, that chance will start to go up. Those water temperatures out there are still very warm. There's not a ton of shear, so I do think there's a decent shot that we could get some tropical action going in western or west central parts of the Caribbean. So we're going to have to monitor this very closely. Good news though, up towards the Gulf of Mexico, things are quiet, and hopefully we can keep them that way for the rest of hurricane season. Here's why we're still concerned that there could be some potential development. Well, we've got water temps in the 80s across the Gulf of Mexico, across the western portions and central portions of the Caribbean Sea. Temps still in the low to middle 80s, those sea surface temps. So this late in the season, when you still have water that warm, there's always still going to be a chance that you could have some tropical cyclone formation. Also, there's not a ton of wind shear out there in the west and west central Caribbean to rip a potential tropical system apart in the upper levels. So yes, there is a window for development. What does our Futurecast model say? Well, it kind of agrees with what I'm saying. So let me walk you through it hour by hour. Notice not much organization going on through 11 p.m. tonight. And we're not expecting much to happen on Halloween, on Thursday, or for Friday. Just a general area of cloudy, wet, stormy weather for a big chunk of Central America, Mexico, and for some of those Caribbean islands, but really nothing getting organized as far as a tropical system. However, as we go into Sunday and Monday, notice here we start to see the potential for maybe an area of low pressure getting more organized. You can start to see some of that heavy rain rolling up into parts of Haiti, Dominican Republic, up towards Jamaica. So those are going to be some of the first areas potentially impacted by what could be a tropical depression or maybe tropical storm Patty by early next week. So as I said, we've had a pretty busy hurricane season so far. Our number of named storms is near average, very slightly above average, with 15 so far for this season. Normally in a hurricane season, we'd have about 14 named storms. Hurricanes, though, about 3 above that normal of 7. And we could have 1 or 2 more before the season is over. Major hurricanes, slightly above average. Normally we'd have about 3 in an average season. We're up to 4, and we are right in those ranges for hurricanes, major hurricanes, as far as what NOAA predicted at the beginning of the season, and very close to that range of 17 to 24 named storms for the season so far. So if we get Patty and maybe another named storm before the season ends, we will be right there in that range that was predicted at the beginning of the season from the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. So an above average season was predicted, and we are definitely on track to wrap things up that way. As we go into the last little bit of October, we're still looking to the western Atlantic, west central parts of the Caribbean Sea, southeastern Gulf for development. But now we're really starting to look towards November, because we are very close to the month of November, which is the final month of hurricane season. This is typically when the water starts to cool off a little bit, things kind of start to calm down, the chance of tropical storms, hurricanes in the Gulf really starts to decrease. So notice there's no highlighted area for the Gulf for November, so chances that a tropical system would head towards Houston are extremely low. However, we're still monitoring a few potential hot spots. That would be off of the east coast of the U.S., parts of the western Atlantic, parts of the central Atlantic, and a big portion of the west and west central Caribbean Sea. That's exactly the area that could be in harm's way early next week, with the potential for a tropical depression or maybe a tropical storm Patty or a hurricane Patty developing. So even though things have kind of calmed down in recent days, we're still not out of complete danger yet. We've got to wait all the way until the very end of hurricane season before we can give you the all clear. So just make sure that you stay alert, make sure that you are still ready to go, and you know exactly what to do in case a tropical system decides to pop up on us and head our way. Chances of it moving towards Texas or Houston extremely low, but maybe you have a cruise or vacation planned for some of those Caribbean islands, you could still be impacted. So just keep it here, and we'll let you know if we do get Patty to develop over the coming days. But as you can see, we are in that last leg of hurricane season, very close to the final month, typically very limited activity. But of course, we will be here tracking things closely to let you know exactly what's up out there across the tropics. Well, that will do it for your tropical update for today. Stay safe out there. Enjoy the rest of your week. I'm Fox 26 meteorologist Remeisha Shade.